Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayarad Amadava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. That's it now. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyanartimriyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakchurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutaye Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prasyatya Desatarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'd like to seek your blessings, and maybe I'll speak something worthwhile, and also the blessings of those who may be listening online. Vancha kalpa tarubhascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we're first going to start with the Sanskrit recitation. So that's on the screens. So, Sattvam Rajas Tamaeti Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibadnanti Mahabaho Dehi Dehinam Avyayam Sattvam Rajas Tamaeti Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibadnanti Mahabaho Dehi Dehinam Avyayam. Would anyone like to try the recitation? Sattvam Rajas Tamaeti Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibadnanti Mahabaho Dehi Dehinam Avyayam. Okay. Would anyone else like to try? Yeah. Sattvam Rajas Tamaeti Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibannanti Mahabaho Dehi Dehinam Avyayam. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So we'll have the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So, material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. And purport. The living entity, because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with this material nature. Still, because he has become conditioned by the material world, he is acting under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because living entities have different kinds of bodies in terms of different aspects of nature, they are induced to act according to that nature. This is the cause of the varieties of happiness and distress. So it describes the living entity because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with this material nature. So how do we understand that? So transcendental, that means something which has transcended. So the spirit soul, it's transcended. It's not, has nothing to do with matter. The spirit soul is completely separate from matter. So the spirit soul is completely separate from this material universe. But inside this body we have a spirit soul. So the soul has somewhat become, we can say, entrapped within the material nature. So we say the soul has nothing to do with material nature, but still we're entrapped. So this is the soul's consciousness has somehow become polluted. So it's somehow become attached to this material nature, but still it remains a pure soul underneath that covering. So it's exactly like oil on water. The oil remains different apart from the water. So these the three modes of material nature, which are described, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So this is what actually orchestrates the whole material nature. The material nature it consists of 5 primary elements. These are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then there's the subtle elements. So this is the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. So these are part of, we have our gross physical body, which is made of the 5 elements, and then our subtle body, which is made of these modes, or these subtle elements of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So our subtle body is what contains our emotions as well. So it said in the Bhagavad Gita, Tihinosmin yata dehe yovram kovaram jara tata dihantara praptir dirs tacha namute, that the spirit soul, just as one goes from boyhood to youth to old age, the spirit soul similarly accepts a new body at the time of death, and a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So the analogy is given that the spirit soul in this material world, at the time from birth until death, it will, what's called the transmigration of the soul. The soul will continue on to another body, and that's the cycle of birth and death in this material world. So that soul it still, as it carries on to another body, it still has a subtle body. The subtle covering is still there, and that's what will actually transmigrate onto a new body. So simply like described like the air will carry an aroma. The soul is like the air, but the aroma which it carries, like the fragrance of a flower, that will carry on to another body. So that's our conditioned nature. So we have to actually understand what actually determines our next birth. What determines our next birth is actually our desires and our karma. So this is how the material world works, that Krishna ultimately he's reciprocating with us. So this is the nature of love, actually, that love can't be forced, and we have our free will. So Krishna is like, like a parent, but he may tell us not to do something, but he won't stop us. So he doesn't want us to be here in this material world. But actually, there was one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. He, first of all, when he first found the Krishna consciousness movement in the 70s, he decided to challenge Srila Prabhupada. He wasn't so convinced, and he challenged Srila Prabhupada with the question, if why would God create this world where there's so much suffering? And Srila Prabhupada answered the question, he didn't create it, you created it. So that's the answer, that ultimately we're pure spirit souls, but we're called what's called the marginal energy of the Lord. We're infallible, or we're fallible. The Lord is infallible. So we have this nature which is described as like on a sandbank. So on the very edge of between the water and the sand, that's where we are. So we can go either way, and due to that free will and that our minute independence, we somehow or other decided to try and to enjoy a life independent of the Lord. So due to that, the Lord facilitates our desires and creates this material world. So for the soul in this material world is like a fish out of water. It's not natural for the soul. And naturally, it says there's a certain quote or a sloka which says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya He Andikara Tan Krishna Yahanami Mayara Adikara. That Krishna is just like the sun and Maya is just like darkness. If the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. But when we try to enjoy independently of Krishna, naturally things get darker, and then we have duality, hot and cold, joy and sorrow, and all these different things. So that's in this material world. We have the more duality, and all this is carried out through the three modes of material nature. So first of all, we have the mode of goodness. So the mode of goodness, someone in the mode of goodness is more Shri Shri Radhakakulananda ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Laxman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki. So someone in the mode of goodness is more peaceful and calm, and they're happy in life. So all these different modes can be still binding materially. Someone in the mode of goodness, sometimes they can be more intellectual, and they can be satisfied and materially, and they can be quite satisfied in life and comfortable. But due to this, these natures, they can also develop false prestige, and they can become attached to these external circumstances in their life. And then the mode of passion. So the mode of passion is characterized actually by romance. Someone who wants very much, just their main focus is just on family, having lots of money and things like this. So this is more in the mode of passion. And then in the mode of ignorance, the mode of ignorance is characterized by someone who is symptoms of mode of ignorance, someone who's addicted to intoxication and sleeping. So this is like someone in the mode of ignorance. And as we practice spiritual life, we ultimately have to try to come to the mode of goodness. So when we get to the mode of goodness, we have to try and come to the stage of pure goodness. So pure goodness is just goodness and nothing else. There's no tinge of passion or ignorance. And when we get to that stage, that's when we get to pure goodness, then naturally we transcend the modes of material nature. And that's our original position as the spirit soul. So we become situated in our true nature. And our true nature as the spirit soul is that we're eternally a servant of the Lord. It says, Mame Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. Krishna says that these living entities are my eternal fragmental parts and parcels. So we're all parts and parcels of Krishna. We have the same quality in terms of spirit soul, but not the same quantity in terms of you can never call a drop the ocean. So Krishna was actually called the Purusha. So he's the actual enjoyer. And we're actually, where we can be really happy is to try and please Krishna. So that's the nature of the soul. What we talk about dharma. So like the dharma of sugar is to be sweet, of water is to be wet, and the dharma of the soul is to actually to serve. So in this material world, the dharma of the soul ends up actually serving matter. That means we serve ourselves, our senses, and the more we actually serve our senses, the more we become entangled and more selfish. But the more we actually, the natural position of the soul is to serve the Lord, and the more we serve the Lord, the more we are naturally happy, because the soul will actually be happy, because that's what Sri Prabhupada calls our eternal constitutional position. So it's the natural position of the soul. So that's why in this age of Kali, which is considered a dark age, it's the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So in this age, things are not so smooth. There's a lot of conflicts, and it's just the nature of Kali Yuga. So fortunately, Krishna is very merciful, and he has advented as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself in the guise of a devotee. So it's Krishna who's actually teaching by his supreme example. And just as we had Lord Nrsimha Dev in Satya Yuga, Lord Ram in Treta Yuga, Lord Krishna in Dwapara Yuga, so we have Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga. And can you tell me what Lord Chaitanya has given us? If you know, what did Lord Chaitanya share with us? Yes, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a very simple way by which we can actually overcome our entanglement in material existence. The meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is, when we chant Hare Krishna, it means, my dear Lord, please engage me in your devotional service. So it's a very simple prayer, but that's what's actually recommended for this day and age. In other ages, there are different processes. Some things which are very popular is the internal meditation, in terms of meditating on the Lord within. So this is the system of Astanga Yoga, the Eightfold Path. But usually people who follow this path, they may have what we call an impersonal conception of the absolute truth, which means they don't see the Supreme as a person. And this path is very troublesome. As I said, Kleshodika Tarastasam Avyakta Sakta Setasam. So that for those who follow this impersonal path, it's very troublesome, and it actually it's more, it's not as actually a safe path. So naturally in the scriptures, those who would have actually been practicing this kind of meditation would have been, it requires a lot of concentration. And in Satya Yuga, when they would have meditated, it was a completely different age, a completely different atmosphere, and they would have lived for 100,000 years in Satya Yuga, and the meditation would have been, in the forest with a kusha grass on a mat, and it's not something which is considered so practical in terms of, maybe it's practical for some, but not for everyone. And in terms of this path of Astanga Yoga also, those are the yogis of the path who actually develop the mystic cities, and they manipulate the life airs as well. But the thing is, none of this is actually considered devotional service, and they can get sidetracked with that. So ultimately, all these different, the yoga, asanas, all the breathing is actually to, and then they practice dharana, pratyahara, to try and withdraw the senses, the life force internally. And this is to actually, it's all part of the process to prepare themselves for meditation. So in terms of bhakti yoga, then ultimately the yogis will meditate on the Lord within the heart, and this may take even many lifetimes, and then they actually fully realize the Lord in the heart. But the actual, the simple and most practical process is to take straight to the devotional service of the Lord on the authority of Scripture and the previous acharyas. So when we see the previous acharyas, someone like Srila Prabhupada, who has actually exemplified devotional service, we can take faith in their words and their purity, and we can take their instructions, and we can take straight to the path of devotional service and save so much hassle. And it's a path which is very simple in terms of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada described it as dancing, chanting, and feasting. So it's something which is, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sukham Kartam Avyam, is joyfully performed. So in terms of devotional service, it's something which it's the highest process, but it's something which is also very simple. So we're very fortunate in terms of if we can actually wholeheartedly at least just endeavor to take to the process and develop that faith in the previous acharyas, and ultimately the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So if you like, can you please repeat after me? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'd like to ask if there's any questions. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. There's one verse that comes to mind is Raja Vijaya Rajaguyam Pavadram Pratyaksha Vagadarma Marmam Susukam Kartam Avyam, that this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, the purest of the purest, because it gives a direct perception of the self, which is the soul. It is the perfection of religion, and it is joyfully performed. So, yeah, this is the perfection of every religion, is to realize ourselves as an actual servant of the Lord. So thank you very much, Boo. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll finish here for today, and we'll have Gaur Arti at 7, and afterwards there'll be a serving Mahaprasadam. Shripapada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki, sorry. All glories, assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Nitansham Bhajasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Bhajasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Bhajate Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
There's no need. Just get go around. You can film it. You can do it yourself. Go around. From the 10. That's it. Go down. Go down. Go down. Go down. That's it. You can. That's it.
Masih memakai dulu itu koin yang koin itu pas mereka itu isi.
Allah, aku bukan. Itu kau mana jadi tak?
श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय, श्री गौरानिताय की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। शिव जय जय गौराचंद्र आरती का शोभा Vasa Chaitradha रत्नसिंहसाने शेखराचा रत्नसिंहसाने आरती करे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने आरती करे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने नरहरि आदि कोरे चामर धुलाया नरहरि आदि कोरे चामर धुलाया संजया मुकुंद वासु घोषदि गाया संजया मुकुंद वासु घोषदि गाया शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल बहु कोटि चंद्र जिने वदन उज्ज्वला बहु कोटि चंद्र जिने वदन उज्ज्वला कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्यता देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसरि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसरि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा